account for when you get to these playoff games. Everything that's gone before is almost out the window. Two big games. Who will stand up to the test? Who can deliver when it really matters? And it's West Brom who will go on the attack first here, heading over halfway with that pace of Mikey Johnson, who's going direct and forward towards Thomas Asante at the left edge of the penalty area, and he gets there first and gets it out to Townsend on this left-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area. Moat has it for West Bromwich Albion. They've started with a real tempo here. Yukuzlu in the middle of the park, short into the feet of Diangana, and in the centre circle the Turkish midfielder will go again to that right-hand side to Darnell Furlong. And West Brom just happy to keep possession early on, and here comes that press from Southampton that we always expect from Russell Martin's side. Furlong down that right-hand side, clips the ball, chases on here for Fellows to try and get there towards the corner flag on the right-hand side, onto his left foot. Fellows inside the box. A good challenge that time from Jack Stevens, wins the ball for the Southampton, but the ball falls to the feet of West Bromwich Albion again in midfield, and Moat are now out wide to this left-hand side once more with Townsend, and to the twinkly feet of Mikey Johnson on loan from Celtic. He heads towards that byline, looks to get the first crossover, and it's a good block from Walker Peters, and the first corner of the game goes to where the bag is.
Yeah, quite start, isn't it, from West Brom? They're right on it at the moment, aren't they, attacking, but down both sides of the pitch. Mikey Johnson and Fellows really holding their width on either flank, posing problems for the wing backs of Southampton. And I tell you what, Manning's got a job in his hand because Fellows is quick. One ball played over the top, was a foot race between the two, and he was first onto it.
It's going to be Johnson to deliver the corner, the first of the game, in front of that Brummy Road, and they're all on their feet. Swung over, right-footed towards that back post, following on keepway with there. Bartley gets the shot, it's blocked, almost came to Thomas Asante, and has to be cleared from inside the penalty area by Adam Armstrong, who was back on defensive duty.
I think two players went for the same ball there. I think it was Bartley and Yukuzlu, both of them, when the ball was delivered in from Mikey Johnson, went for the same header. All it needs is a bit of communication. It fell to Bartley, got his strike away, came off a Southampton player. They were happy to clear the danger downfield.
2 minutes gone, you're listening to the FL playoffs on Talk Sport, and West Brom just back inside their own half, midway inside their own territory. In the opening exchanges here, Southampton struggling to get a foot on the ball so far. High tempo start from Carlos Corberan's side. As we mentioned, both of them in fairly wretched form leading into these playoffs. Both suffered 3 straight defeats. For West Brom, it left them teetering on the brink of missing out on the playoffs until that victory against Preston last Saturday lunchtime. For Southampton, it just ruined any chance of getting in the top 2. Here's Thomas Asante, right edge of the penalty area, does well, holds the ball up despite being under plenty of pressure that time from Harwood Bellis, and wins his side of throw.
Well, they certainly Southampton are playing with a back five, and I don't understand why Thomas Asante can make a run when there's 3 centre backs there to mark him, and he can get between them. On that occasion, Jack Stevens is going in too tight too early. He's left the ball to be played in for Thomas Asante, and it was a foot race between him and Harwood Bellis, and he was a bit quicker than him as well. So good signs for West Brom so far.
Corner on that right hand side, left footed swing in from Moat. The thunderclap starts from the West Bromwich Albion supporters. 3 minutes on the clock, swinging corner towards Yukuzlu, but it's headed away quite comfortably from the edge of the 6-yard box that time by the head of Harwood Bellis, and it will be a throw again for West Brom on that right hand side. Forward they come once more. This time Mikey Johnson's out there on that far side, but early crossing with the right foot, almost finding the head of Kipre, who was coming in at the back post. It will come to him at the edge of the penalty area instead, and here's Kyle Bartley, and here is Kipre, left edge of the penalty area, slips it to Diangana, who goes towards the byline, pulls it back, and Smallbone in the end there tries to get it clear, but he's dispossessed by Kipre again. Great pressure this from West Bromwich Albion. Diangana into the box, gets it back from Kipre, gets the shot, and that's going to go out of play for another corner on this left hand side. What a start!
Brilliant start from West Bromwich Albion on the front foot, taking the game to Southampton, who actually look a little bit shell-shocked at the moment. They're not clearing the lines quickly enough. They're not retaining possession of the ball at all. It's all West Brom at the moment. They're going to deliver the ball again because they've got good height inside the 18-yard box, but there's occasions, I think, Adam, where you can go take a little short one, particularly with the ability that Mikey Johnson's got, get a 2v1.
It is Johnson with that corner towards the middle of that 6-yard area, half cleared, and Walker Peters will help get it away only as far as Townsend, who clips it back in. Johnson's not offside, but Townsend was clipped late, and it will be a free kick to West Brom about 30 yards out from goal, just to the right of centre.
I just wonder if the referee could have just played an advantage here. You know, and I know it was a foul, I think it was on Townsend, the left full-back, who just went to clip the ball in, and Joe Aribo came in with a challenge, mistimed it completely. But the ball went actually out, went out to this left-hand side, to Mikey Johnson, who was in behind the back line of Southampton, but the referee wasn't to know that. I think that's why he pulled it up for the free kick. See what they've got to do from this.
Sam Barrett is our referee today. We've had 5 minutes. You're listening to Talk Sport, your exclusive home of the EFL playoffs. West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. Second of these championship playoffs.
Shot from here, or do you think you'll deliver it in a little cross into the box?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if Moat fancied his chances. He got a terrific record when outside the penalty area. 24 of his 40 league goals have come from outside the box. It feels like with the height they've got, maybe a little too far away.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's in a central position, isn't it? You know, we've got a two-man wall. I don't think that's going to do much good for Southampton.
It's Mikey Johnson with his right who is going to lift it towards the back post where Kyle Bartlett's coming round, but there was just too much on that for the West Bromwich Albion skipper for the day.
Do you know what was wrong with that, Adam? He didn't get any curl on it. It was a straight ball, so he was never favouring Bartlett to get on the end of it. I think if he'd have just curled it in towards the back post, it would have far easier for Bartlett to get on the end of the ball. But they have looked really threatening, very positive.
Only been playing for 6 minutes, but possession-wise, 92% at the moment, going West Bromwich Albion's way. A surefire sign they've been on top. Paul McCarthy almost getting caught playing at the back here. Southampton, they have been caught. Thomas Asante with a shot from the edge of the box, and it's well blocked that time by Flynn Downs. And now they'll try to counter. Smallbone tries to set Armstrong away on this right-hand side. Doesn't quite manage it, and it's back with Southampton just at the edge of their own penalty area. Onto Aribo. Smallbone tries to get there. Keepray with a header. Moet finds Johnson on this near side, and it's back with Townsend again.
Well, look, listen, that's when you're playing out from the back and it goes wrong. But Thomas Asante, why didn't he pass it? Moet had made a great run from the centre and midfield. He was in oceans of room over on the right-hand side, and it was a simple pass to pick him out. It was just a 10-yard slide rule ball over to him, and he could have got an attempt to go. He went for the more audacious strike with Southampton players in front of him. Well, he took a deflection of the Southampton player, and the chance had gone. Moet still having a word with Thomas Asante, not happy that you didn't pick him out.
Yeah, Thomas Asante missed a couple of really good chances against Preston North End last weekend to get back on the score sheet. He has got 11 goals this season, but he's not been flowing with the goals of late. He's got possession here, 10 yards inside the Southampton half. Lovely layoff to Moat through the centre circle. Driven out wide down this left-hand side. Mikey Johnson on the charge inside that penalty area on his right foot. Likes a shot, but this one's not very good. Outside of the right foot, skewing away towards the corner flag and never troubling Alex McCarthy.
Well, really good play once again there from West Brom. Moat with a little ball out to Mikey Johnson. Townsend goes on the overlap, which attracts Walker Peters. He's got to go with the full-back, which allows Johnson to come infield into his stronger right foot. Little dummy to get away from his marker, but then the strike was poor, wasn't it? Really didn't trouble the goalkeeper whatsoever.
More space here on this left-hand side for Mikey Johnson for West Bromwich Albion. Good work there from Smallbone just to get a foot in and disrupt it. Yokozlu will pick it up inside the centre circle. 8 minutes played on Talk Sport. West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. First leg of these championship playoffs. A place in the Premier League is at stake, as that's down the line from Furlong on the far side. It's well controlled this time by Jack Stevens, who captains Southampton, of course. He'll try and bring it forward, and out of play it goes off the outstretched right boot of Fellows, and a throw for Southampton. Well, a chance for them to get in the game.
Yeah, well, listen, at the moment with Jack Stevens there, an experienced player, he knows the game. He's been very good for Southampton this season, captain of the side as well. But when he came forward there, he had the ball downfield to pick out Armstrong. It was a little ball over the top, and he refused to play it.
Walker Peters finds Smallbone down this right-hand edge, gets the early cross in. It's blocked out by Keepray, and first corner of the game for Southampton on their first adventure into the West Bromwich Albion half.
Yeah, it's the first time they've been that far forward, isn't it? Southampton fans are overjoyed behind that goal to see their team have a set play. Ryan Manning coming over from the left-back position to take it. But there again, Adam, look, Smallbone's there, and it's only Fellows. It's there from West Brom's point of view. You've got a 2v1 situation. I'm surprised they don't utilise this a little bit more.
Well, Smallbone is offering up that option, of course. They have sent forward the likes of Jack Stevens and Bednarek inside the penalty area. They do go short to Smallbone this time. Flynn Downs at the edge of the penalty area, then just tries to slip it to Manning, who's just going to try and keep it in play. It runs out for another corner down this right-hand side.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Manning was going there. What he did is, when he came in field, there was no space. He should have just held his width, and certainly Downs should have played it a lot earlier than he did. He took too long in possession of the ball to make up his mind when he was going to go over the pass. So on this occasion, I think Manning's going to whip it in with his left foot.
He is. and this time they will go a little more direct into that West Bromwich Albion penalty area. It just flicks off the head that time of the advancing Taylor Harwood-Bellis. The one thing to say about West Bromwich Albion in total, and here in particular, 18 clean sheets for Alex Palmer this season, 12 of them at the Hawthorns, and that's where they've won the majority of their games.
Yeah, well, listen, you can tell with this crowd as well behind them, it's been absolutely exceptional, the noise. They'll be happy the way they've started. The only thing they will be slightly concerned about, never really got any real opportunities to test McCarthy in the goal, and then all of a sudden it just shows you what Southampton are about. Quick break, ball down that right channel, Smallbone makes a run forward from midfield, then they get their opportunity from the set play. I've got to say, Ryan Manning's second delivery in was a very good ball, delivered in a good area, but Harwood-Bellis just got in ahead of the ball a little bit too early.
Alex McCarthy in that Southampton goal, only made his first league appearance on the 16th of April against Preston. That was for the first time since May, when he was playing in the Premier League for them, of course. Bazunu has been the number one choice, and he's been used to playing out from the back until he picked up his injury.
I'll tell you what I'd be doing at the moment if I was West Brom. I'd be putting a lot more balls over the top, because there's no doubt that Thomas Asante's got the pace to get in behind the back three. Jack Stevens is going too high up the pitch. He's not staying alongside these other two centre halves. He wants to go into a midfield position, which is leaving the space between the left back and the centre of the two centre halves, which on that occasion once again was Harwood-Bellis, and Thomas Asante's pace is getting him in behind.
Here comes the long throw from Darnell Furlong to the edge of the 6-yard box. Shakuzlu gets up and wins it first. McCarthy comes and punches. He was impeded in the way though, but the offside flag is up, and it will be a free kick for Southampton and a chance to clear their lines.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is a real danger, that throw, isn't it, from Furlong. There's plenty of distance on it, and then there's a competitive edge in the box there. Shakuzlu won the initial head up. Actually, it wasn't convincing from Alex McCarthy's goalkeeper. There's no doubt there's a West Brom players in an offside position, spotted by the assistant on the far side. But McCarthy could have come and caught that. You know, he's tried to punch and didn't make a very good job of it.
12 minutes played on TalkSport. It remains West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. Just getting underway over on TalkSport 2 right now. It's the Women's FA Cup final. Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. If you would like to hear that, of course, download the TalkSport app, and then you can flick between the two stations. That's live right now from Wembley over on TalkSport 2, and we'll get regular updates from Bianca Westwood on that game throughout the afternoon. Headed forward by keeper. He's got too much on that. From about 45 yards out, he's headed it all the way into the arms of McCarthy.
I don't think he was going for goal, to be honest, keeper there. But I've heard a lot of good things about him and what he's done at this club this season. He's been an absolute stalwart, and someone, Brownie was telling me, he's been by far the best player at the club this season. He's been head and shoulders above most of them.
Well, he was signed back in 2020 from Wigan. This is only his 60th league appearance for the club in 4 seasons. He's been pumped out on loan to the likes of Cardiff and Charleroi. He's out of contract in June, but I don't think that will be an issue for them, given that he's been reintegrated by Carlos Corberán this season, has been so well loved by the squad.
Isn't that amazing, Adam, where you get a manager like you, and then all of a sudden your form changes, the fans are on side with you, everything looks good.
Never really got an opportunity under the likes of Steve Bruce and Slaven Bilic and Sam Allardyce before. His fellows on that right hand side, a little bit deeper than we usually find him, around halfway, but he keeps hold of the ball nicely for West Bromwich Albion. 13.5 minutes played, still 0-0. Down this left hand side it's Townsend. Not a cagey affair this though, that's for sure, as Townsend tries to get the better of Smallbone once more, but Smallbone does nicely, picks up possession on halfway, and Southampton keep it with a Rebo. And now Walker-Peters down this right hand side. 44th start of the campaign for Walker-Peters. Anytime he's not played is when he's been injured this season for Southampton, a real favourite of Russell Martin.
Just on where Walker-Peters is playing, Mikey Johnson's not tracking him at all, so there are chances if one of the midfielders, Arebo, Smallbone or Downs, gets on the ball and then just transfers it over to this right hand side. It's a lot of space for Walker-Peters.
There's Arebo on the charge through the middle here for Southampton, right hand side. Here is Walker-Peters in space inside the penalty area, gets the shot away right across the face of goal. Smallbone was coming in, but it's been deflected behind, and that will be a corner, and that wasn't far wide.
On cue, as I just say, he's in so much room, you can see, because Townsend at times is going in very tight alongside the centre halves, which is leaving the space for Walker-Peters, because Johnson won't track him. So it's up to Walker-Peters just to keep his width over on this right hand side, and you can see there as he tried to fire the ball across towards that far post, it just took a slight touch off Townsend, the fullback, and out for a corner.
Smallbone delivering that towards the back post here, where it's met on the volley by Downs and skims across the penalty area again, and it's another corner. It's taking a flick off a West Bromwich Albion head, far side, and it'll be Smallbone to deliver once more for Southampton.
Yeah, and a good bit of pressure from Southampton, isn't it? You know, they're growing into the game at the moment. And once they get the passing game, they've not panicked. In that spell where it was all West Brom and you're talking about 90% possession that they had, they didn't panic. You know, they've just played their way back into it slowly but surely, get more control of the game, trying to slow things down.
Quarter of an hour gone. Smallbone again flicks it over. Really good header away that time. A sharp header by Yukuzlu at the near post. Slipped in again for Armstrong, then that left hand edge of the penalty area. Tries to get the cross away. Blocked out once more by Furlong. Another corner for Southampton on that right hand side of West Bromwich Albion's defence. Left hand side for Southampton on the attack. So it'll be an in-swinger from Smallbone again. Really bright start to this playoff semi-final first leg. Smallbone will deliver once more. A flat delivery in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Downs keeps it alive at the edge of the penalty area, where he finds Walker-Peters. Now out to that left-hand side. Manning will deliver a ball towards that back post, and there's a challenge inside the penalty area on that occasion between Townsend and Stevens. Referee not happy. Free kick to West Brom.
Well, what a needless free kick to give away there from Jack Stevens. You know, what was the point in going and make the challenge on Townsend that he did? Because Bellis was in behind him. Harwood Bellis was in behind him. There was a 2v1 situation at the far post. It was all about the quality of the delivery, but they just run into the defender, gave away the free kick, and that opportunity, which was there for Southampton, is just gone.
The voice of Ray Houghton, who's with us on TalkSport this afternoon here at the Hawthorns. It remains 0-0. And here's Johnson down this left-hand side. Townsend has gone advancing ahead of him. Johnson will just come inside and offer an option as he's closed down by Walker-Peters. Instead he bypasses him and goes to Moat into more of a central area. Yukuzlu in the centre circle. Finds Bartley out wide to that right-hand side. Far touchline, Furlong tries to slip it into space. Fellows is on the overlap, cuts it back, but there's no one there, although it is picked up by Johnston, edge of the penalty area. It was just behind everyone that time from Fellows. It was a clever ball as it's cut across by Johnson, deflects inside the penalty area, bounces at the edge of the 6-yard box and away by Aribo on that far side up to Sekumara, and Furlong goes in with a challenge, and that will be a free kick for
Brilliant
Southampton.
from Fellows though, Adam, there was, and I talked about his pace earlier, and I'm surprised West Brom aren't doing that a little bit more over on that right hand side, the left of Southampton, get the ball in behind Manning. It's just a mismatch pace wise, and he gave him 2 yards and still beat him, and as he pulled it back, it was only Thomas Asante in the box. That's where Diangana, you know, is the number 10. He's got to be on the edge of the box, his starting position, running in. He was 10 yards outside the box, and he didn't read the first pass in behind, and then he was too far away from the action to actually do anything about it. But great play all round there from West Brom.
Stevens with a free kick on the far side for Southampton, and Furlong will concede the throw. You're listening to West Brom against Southampton in the EFL Championship playoff semi-finals on TalkSport with McDonald's. Order McDelivery in the McDonald's app and get tasty rewards points. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Still 0-0 here, 18 minutes played. No one seems to want to score in these playoff semi-finals.
Yeah,
today.
well, very tight matches. Of course, it's because there's so much at stake. There's an edginess, there's an nervousness about both teams as well. Just that final ball hasn't been quite there. Interesting to see the two players who have not really gone into the game is Diangana from West Brom. I think Downs, whenever he tries to get it, Downs is closest to him, and he's sort of man marking, which makes it much more difficult for Diangana to get involved in the game.
And just at that point, Diangana loses out to Downs, and a combination of him and Stevens. Aribo out wide on that left-hand side. Sekumara at the edge of the penalty area gets the shot away. Really well blocked that time by the hard work of Yukuzlu. Picked up by Brandon Thomas Asante, who just runs into two black and yellow shirts, and now an opportunity for Aribo. He's told to put it out wide by Smallbone, which he does, because he finds the advancing Ryan Manning, formerly of Queen's Park Rangers, of course. And Manning, who was picked up from Swansea on a free transfer, will just bring play into a more central area where Bednarek is waiting, and out wide on that left-hand side, Stevens finds Manning again. Chance to deliver a ball, but instead he chooses to go back to Stevens. It's patient build-up play from Russell Martin's side. Appeared in the playoffs as a player, of course, Russell Martin on numerous occasions, taking Southampton into the playoffs for only the second time in their history. Last time round they lost out to Derby in the semi-finals, who went on to beat West Bromwich Albion in that playoff final at Wembley. Ball hooked inside the box here for Sekou Mara to try and get there. However, it's good defending, calm defending this time round by Kyle Bartley, and they've lost it again though, West Brom. And here's Aribo for Southampton, edge of the box, slips that one into the advancing Downs, and it has to be saved by Palmer, and it is, and Adam Armstrong tries to hook the shot goalwards, but it's wide of the left hand post and into the side netting.
Top class football all round there. The way that Southampton won the ball initially, Flynn Downs heavily involved. I think it was Armstrong with a little ball in behind Furlong, great run from Flynn Downs. And then the goalkeeper did what he had to do. Excellent save, narrowed the angle, came out quickly, made it much more difficult for Flynn Downs to get the ball over the top of him. I think he should have tried to chip it, he tried to curl it, but the goalkeeper was so tight to him, there was no room really to curl it in the bottom corner. He could have maybe got a little bit more height on it. That was a golden opportunity to give Southampton the lead.
Second best home defence in the Championship. West Bromwich Albion leads just a goal better. They've only conceded 17 goals here throughout the campaign in the 23 games, of course. And they'll look to be keeping that tight. Alex Palmer's been a huge part of that resolute defence as he's played every single Championship game this season for West Bromwich Albion. Southampton with a bit of possession deep inside their own half this time, with Stevens, who goes to this right hand side. First touch from Harwood Bellis, who was on loan at Burnley last season, of course, when they got promoted to the Premier League. Wasn't the best, but they've still managed to keep the ball with Bednarek, a former Villaloni, in the middle. And he'll find Stevens, short to Aribo, and then wide on that left-hand side with Manning, who clips it over the top for Sekou Mara, who's just tried to get between Furlong and Bartley. Sekou Mara inside the penalty area, fighting hard with Furlong, and in the end the free kick goes the way of West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, he done well in the end Furlong, but he was caught out initially. It was really good movement from Sekou Mara over that left-hand side. He feinted to come short, and then the ball was delivered over the tops, so he got in behind Furlong, but Furlong done really well to get back, to put him under a bit of pressure and force him into making the mistake, putting out for a goal kick. It's been a much better spell, I'd say, the last 10 minutes or so for Southampton.
Whoever you like to start your Monday, don't forget Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoyster back on Talk Sport Breakfast tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. Peter Schmeichel and Rio Ferdinand amongst the guests on the show tomorrow. Or if your morning commute, you like a bit more music, Chris Evans is on with his breakfast show on Virgin Radio, weekdays from 6:30. You can listen on DAB or download the app, of course.
Where's the Arsenal boys on tomorrow then?
Well, this was pointed out to me yesterday by Martin Keown at Fulham. He said there's a bit of a leaning towards Manchester United on Monday morning.
Slightly.
Breakfast tomorrow morning with Jeff and Ali, though, from 6 o'clock here on TalkSport. And of course they'll be building up to a big Premier League game tomorrow night. Aston Villa against Liverpool is live and exclusive to TalkSport on national radio. That's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock from Villa Park, two of Ray's former teams.
But listen, it's an absolutely massive game today, isn't it, between Man United and Arsenal. I think at once I've seen in the betting, and I'm a gambler, I can tell you I'm not, but they were like 61 Man United at home today. I've never heard of that before.
Well,
incredible.
We'll be following that. Sam and Alex Crook are at Old Trafford in preparation for that huge game. Of course, could have a bearing on what happens Tuesday night in the game between Spurs and Man City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, as Aribo tries to take that one down inside the penalty area. But that's really good defending again by Kyle Bartley.
Yeah, great running off the ball though from Aribo. You know, Smallbone does that well. Aribo, we've seen Flynn Downs getting into an advanced position as well for Southampton. They've got that fluidity and that freedom to go and do that. His touch just let him down slightly, and just as he tried to bring it down and maybe try and get a strike away, Kyle Bartley just done enough defensively to push him off, and the ball went back to Alex Palmer in the goal.
Down that left hand side again, Manning is there. Would you say, Ray, Southampton just dictating the pace of the game?
Yeah, no,
right now?
they are. You know, there's a phenomenal start from West Brom, but when you've had such a good start, you really need to have a few goal chances, and they didn't have that.
That's poor from Stevens, gives it to Townsend, who charges forward down this left-hand side. Here's Mikey Johnson inside the penalty area. Stevens across with a challenge, and Johnson just runs it out of play. He cups his hands together in frustration, because that's a goal kick for Southampton, and it remains 0-0.
Yeah, Jack Stevens was the culprit initially, wasn't he? He was giving the ball away, but then he rectified it, and he's trying to play the ball out to this right-hand side to pick out Walker-Peters. Townsend spotted the danger, played it out to Mikey Johnson, and he did the right thing. Mikey Johnson, he drove into the 18-yard box, because then he knows Stevens can't tackle him, you know, for the fear of giving away a penalty, but he just overrun it.
Sun's out, Ray, time for a drinks break, 24 minutes
I don't think it was that hot. It was a bit listen, the pace of the game's been electric from both teams, and both of them need just a few moments to go and have a bit of refreshment on the sidelines there, and for the managers really just to quieten things down and chat to them.
Let's get an update on that Women's FA Cup final taking place at Wembley. It's Spurs against Manchester United, and there for TalkSport this afternoon is Bianca Westwood.
Hi Sam, it's Manchester United women 0, Spurs women 0. It's a perfect day for an FA Cup final, and Manchester United almost had the perfect start from a Katie Zellum corner. It was a brilliant delivery into Rachel Williams at the far post against her old team Tottenham as well. She was 3 yards out. It was a good header, but it was off target and it blazed over the bar. It's been a bright start so far, but it's 0-0.
Thanks, Bianca. Just to mark your cards, that game is live right now over on TalkSport 2. If you'd like to listen to that, you can via DAB Radio, of course, or via the TalkSport app. And reminder, as we said, Manchester United against Arsenal later. If Arsenal drop points, then Tuesday night, live on TalkSport, exclusive to TalkSport, Spurs against Man City, where Man City could potentially wrap up the title.
Isn't it amazing? You've got Man United against Arsenal, and then you've got Man City against Spurs. Two Manchester teams, two London massive sides.
And of course Man City, their last 4 league visits to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they've been beaten. They may have won there in the Cup, but they haven't won in the league on the last 4 visits.
And you could always get, I love them stats because I always say, but this is the chance to change that.
Yes, it is. Well, I think the worry for Spurs is that Angie's in charge now, and therefore they're maybe a little more open than they used to be.
Do you know what? I've really enjoyed Angie's teams this season. I think they've been brilliant to watch.
That's brilliant from Thomas Asante. He's robbed Harwood-Bellis, and now Dean Garner in the box, left-footed, tries to cross it over to, well, no one really, because there was no blue and white striped shirt anywhere near where he was heading. Mikey Johnson has it down this left-hand side for West Bromwich Albion, forced backwards towards Yakuslu, and he'll go all the way to halfway where Keatpray is there and Bartley's there too, and there'll be Furlong though down that right-hand side that will gather possession up against once more for West Bromwich Albion as we head towards the 27-minute mark. You're listening to TalkSport, 0-0.
Just with the full-backs for West Brom, they're key.
Oh, Townsend's ball here for Johnson. It's a really good ball. Johnson at the byline just keeps it alive, and then with the outside of his right boot, he just pokes it into the arms of Alex McCarthy.
He was unlucky there, but once again, that's that ball over the top and utilising the pace in this West Brom side. We've seen it with Fellows over on the right-hand side. On this occasion, it was Johnson getting in behind the back line of Southampton, but he just couldn't deliver it. I thought he should have went with his left foot. He tried to hit it with the outside of his right foot. But just going back to the full-backs, Furlong and Townsend, they can actually get forward and supplement the wide players and get 2v1 situations, because the midfielders, Smallbone on the right and Aribo on the left, they're not coming out to help. They're leaving the fullbacks the wing-backs, should I say, isolated.
Stevens on halfway finds Aribo for Southampton, still searching that opening goal in these championship playoffs. It's a fairly open affair between Norwich and Leeds earlier on. Second leg of that, of course, takes place on Thursday night. Second leg of this one is Friday night. Both those games live on TalkSport, of course, as will be the 3 playoff finals, 2 of which take place next weekend. League 1 on Saturday, League 2 on Sunday, and you'll hear them live across the TalkSport network. Back to McCarthy, 10 yards outside his own penalty area. Southampton just again look to just take the pace out of the game.
Yeah, but look, there's big deliveries on. Sometimes you've got to gamble in football. Harwood-Bellis had the ball on his right foot, favoured right foot. Manning's over that left-hand side, phrase you like, and now eventually Bednarek's picked him out.
Ball down into the penalty area. That time from Manning is easily dealt with by Kyle Bartley, and it's out for a throw on the far side.
But that's on all the time, Adam. You've got to be more progressive with your passing. If there's movement from the centre forwards isn't great and they're not making runs in behind, then you've got to utilise the width of the pitch, and that's where you're looking at your wing backs. Walker-Peters on the right and Manning on the left.
Well, Dean Garner's tried to keep that ball in by the corner flag. He's taken the corner flag and himself into the advertising hoardings, and yet failed to achieve his objective. So it's a corner for Southampton on that far side.
Yeah, Smallbone will going to whip in with his right foot, so it'll be an in-swinger, you would imagine. I don't think they've got an expert to help them with the set plays, a set plays expert, because it's all pretty basic.
No, there's no one jumping about in the technical area at this point, so I think it's a case of work it out yourself. Here is Smallbone towards the edge of that 6-yard box. It's headed down the bicycle overhead kick from Sekou Mara. Well wide, it would have been spectacular had it been on target.
Oh, I like that though. I mean, it shows you initiative, doesn't it? Shows you your awareness in the box of where he was. He knew he didn't have time really to bring it down and give it to one of his teammates, so he's tried the acrobatic overhead kick, and well, it was a good few yards off the target, but he had the ability to do it.
Aside from a couple of runs from Tom Fellows, which really caused them problems, they're not really getting the ball out to that right-hand side.
They're not doing it often. I'm amazed at time in football where you're getting joy in matches and you stop playing that ball when you should be playing more of it.
Because short into Moat in the middle, who again is closed down immediately by Downs and the hard-working Adam Armstrong. He's been involved in over 30 goals for Southampton this championship season. He'd had a rough old time prior, to be fair. Scored against Leeds, scored against West Brom in November as well.
See, like here, Adam, with the retaining possession of the ball, not one of the players, you watch when the ball comes to any of the West Brom players, not one of them's looking forward. You know, it's just like safe, we'll pass it 5 yards, we'll get it back. You know, it's as if it's pre-planned, the positions that they've got. Look, there's Yakuzlu, like a third centre half at the moment, and then Moat, his midfield partner. Look how deep they are. You know, and then they're not looking to get the ball in behind to utilise the pace in the side. That's where the strength is. They're quicker than the back five of Southampton. So you think they'd be playing more balls over the top to get in behind them.
Thoughts of the former Villa, Palace, Liverpool midfielder Ray Houghton. 31 minutes played here. West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. Chases on for Bartley on that far side because the pass has gone astray, and all he can do is to concede the throw-in on that far side. And there's been certainly a shift around in possession, 60% towards Saints now, having been in those opening exchanges heavily outgunned by West Bromwich Albion. Seeing much more of the ball, dictating the tempo as well, which is just how Russell Martin likes his sides to play.
Whenever I've watched them this season, they've been very adept at keeping possession of the ball. I think there was a stat I was looking at a few months ago where, you know, the possession stats for them in games, they were like 60% per game, most of the games that they played in.
Here's Armstrong, tries to turn it around the corner for Downs. It's well read that time by Cedric Kipre, and then taken down on this near touchline by Johnson, who tries to get away from Walker-Peters midway inside his own half. And he said it's going to be a throw down this left-hand touchline for West Bromwich Albion.
Definite threat though, Adam, isn't it? The midfielders of Southampton making runs in behind.
And here's Yakuzlu has done well now to Diangana. Thomas Asante's in an offside position, so Diangana's options were fairly limited. He's done well though, he's turned a couple of times. Little tug there from Aribo, and he was going to play the advantage.
Play on, lovely skill there with Diangana. Little nutmeg as well.
Furlong out wide to Fellows, right hand side, level with the edge of the box. Fellows are going to cut inside towards the byline, gets the crossover towards the back post. Diangana with a header, good save McCarthy, and turn round for a corner to West Bromwich Albion.
Oh, brilliant.
That should have been 1-0.
Well, listen, credit to keeper for making the save, but what play from Fellows over that right hand side. He's a natural left-footed player, but he done a little step over, took it to the byline, got behind Manning and just stood it up for Diangana to come in. There was enough Southampton players back there to see off the danger, but he's headed it down, and as it bounced up, McCarthy's got a good strong hand to it to keep it out. You've got to credit the keeper there a little bit as well. I thought it was a decent header.
Good shave. Here's the corner from Moat down this left hand side, outswinger this time, and it's headed goalwards by Bartley, but he just tried to guide it, but he ended up just pushing it to the left hand side of McCarthy's left hand.
Yeah,
post.
Difficult chance, isn't it? Because you're coming away from goals, so you've got to try and redirect it with pace. And what Southampton are doing is when it's an outswinger, as it comes out, they're all coming out. So any West Brom player that stays in there, you're going to be in an offside position.
Reminder, Sam will take you through the rest of the Sunday session with Alex Crook at the game between Manchester United and Arsenal, and obviously Perry Groves as well. Then after 6:30 tonight, Alan Pardew and Majestic will take your calls from 6:30 here on TalkSport. It's always a good listen. Pards is always forthright in his views without being alarmist, which, you know, is something I'd always say about Alan Pardew. Very straight down the middle. 11 minutes to go here in the first half. You're listening to TalkSport. It's the EFL playoffs. We're in the Championship today. First leg already a goalless draw today at Carrow Road between Norwich and Leeds, and we're without a goal here 34 minutes in. Cagey affairs, but here comes Southampton trying to break that deadlock down the right hand side with Walker-Peters, who's midway inside the West Bromwich Albion half, shooting towards that Smethwick end, which is half taken up by the travelling Southampton supporters. In the centre circle is Bednarek. To the right again is Walker-Peters. Given short this time to Flynn Downs on loan from West Ham, of course. Downs Down that left-hand side again, Stevens with space if he wants to use the ball. Instead he goes short to Downs and then to Bednarek once more. Happy to keep the ball under pressure from the press from West Brom, being led at times down the middle by Alex Moat and of course Thomas Asante and Diangana, and being instructed by Carlos Corberán is at the edge of his technical area with his arms outstretched.
Good pressure, wasn't it, from West Brom? But in fairness to Southampton, they don't panic, do they? You know, they retain possession of the ball very well. And Harwood Bellis, I think he's trying to play out with Walker Peters. You're not too happy.
Well, no, he's not, and he's absolutely having a row with Russell Martin's assistant away to our right-hand side. With whatever was said to him, he's absolutely furious.
I think what he's also, if I was playing in that position, I'd be asking for a little bit more from our two strikers, Armstrong and Mara. You know, they actually split and go really wide, but they're not running in behind. They're not offering themselves.
Poor pass given away. Mikey Johnson, lovely bit of skill, keeps going. He's caught late by Downs. Referee was going to play the advantage till he realised there wasn't one. First yellow card of the game, and it goes to Flynn Downs again, and he turns around to his back line furious for the poor pass that led to Johnson getting possession.
Yeah, look, they're gambling a little bit. It was a poor ball out. I think it was Bednarek trying to pick out Smallbone with a pass, and it never favoured Smallbone. Mikey Johnson was on it to a flash, and then a lovely little turn that took him away from Smallbone, and then Downs felt committed to go and make the challenge, and he was always second favourite to get there. Referee done well there because he allowed play to continue initially, then when nothing came from it, pulled it back from the initial challenge and gave Downs the yellow card for his troubles.
Going to be delivered by Alex Moat this time. It's left of centre, and he's going for goal for sure. It's about 35 yards out here, and the fact that the likes of Bartley, Furlong and Kipre are hanging around with Yukuzlu on the right edge of the penalty area, that's where this is going to be going from Moat to the back post. Bartley nudged it across the face of goal, but straight into the arms of McCarthy, who gathers.
Too close to the keeper. But that was out. It's such an easy free kick, and how can you leave Bartley free at the back post all on his own? He's got a simple header across the 6-yard box, and actually he should have done a lot better there. He'll be disappointed with the final ball across the box there, because he had teammates in that area of the goal who could have just had a tap in.
8 minutes left in this first half. You listen to Talk Sport. West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful afternoon, what we like to call playoff weather really, but still nothing to separate these two sides. Left hand side, Stevens heading forward over halfway for Southampton again. Russell Martin on the edge of his technical area, standing tall. Carlos Corberán is down on his haunches, Bielsa-like down below us. Of course, he was a disciple of his at Leeds before heading off to take over at Huddersfield and taking them into those playoffs in 22-23, again on very limited resource before departing. And those who aren't familiar with the story, picked up West Brom when Steve Bruce left, and they were teetering on relegation and somehow got them within a sniff of the playoffs last season as well. Terrific coach. Stevens lifts that one over the top. Armstrong has beaten the offside trap. He's onside. Flags up. No, didn't beat it. Assistant on this near side had raised his flag. And maybe a bit of frustration from Adam Armstrong. He's not really featured in the game.
No, he's not. I don't think either centre forward for Southampton are really featured at all. But better movement from him. That's what you want. You know, when you're in that central position as a midfielder stroke defender who's coming forward, you want a runner, and that's what he had from Armstrong. Just a ball over the top, just mistimed it slightly. But the best chance of the game we've had is certainly for Diangana with a header after some brilliant work from Fellows over that right hand side.
Hasn't scored since the 6th of March, Grady Diangana. Probably his best opportunity since then, to be fair, but a good save from McCarthy, who's had a rough old time in goal really. He's conceded 9 in the 5 appearances before today, just the 1 clean sheet since coming into the team, and very much coming in from out of the cold. Here's Yukuzlu driving forward over halfway, sips it through to Diangana, who's onside, gets the other side of Stevens. Stevens in with a challenge, does well, and Bednarek will get it clear.
Well, Stevens done well in the end, but that all came from Walker Peters high up the pitch, giving the ball away. And when you do that, he just took 3 of his teammates out of the game. I looked down at Russell Martin, the manager. He was absolutely furious that the wing back didn't play the ball forward quicker than he did, and then he was off and running. And Yukuzlu, I thought it was a decent ball with Diangana, but Stevens done well, because I thought he was going to be committed to make the challenge, and he was inside the box. This time it's a penalty all day long, so he just bided his time, and Diangana just didn't pick up the way that the ball was played through him, which allowed Stevens to pass it back to McCarthy and clear it.
Here comes that long throw from Darnell Furlong. He's level with the edge of the box on the right hand side, throwing into the penalty area just in front of that Brummy road end, away to our left here at the Hawthorns. Launches it in and McCarthy does well. Decisive goalkeeping to come and gather.
No, that's brilliant. That's simply brilliant, because obviously they'll looked to what West Brom do from that area of the pitch with the long throws and the areas they try to throw into, and he wasn't marked by anyone. There was no one standing on him, so there was a freedom for him to come and collect it. But that's great goalkeeping in the sense that it just calms everything down in that Southampton penalty area.
78th consecutive championship appearance for Darnell Furlong. I was mentioning to Sam earlier that, talking to him post-match at one game this season, he said the manager is always challenging him to do more. Aribo slips the ball through to Armstrong at the edge of the box. Well, Manning was in so much space on the left-hand side, probably not the best of choices. Long ball forward now for Thomas Asante to get after. Bednarek's there, he had the pace and he did enough to put Bednarek off, but they do keep possession, Southampton.
Well, you're quite right about what happened earlier with the wrong pass. Manning, listen, I learnt a great lesson very early on in my career from Liam Brady when he said to me, if the full-back offers them, you've got to dangle the carrot by giving the pass. If you don't, they won't run for you again, because they'll turn away and think he's not going to pass to me. And that's what happened there. Manning was the ball. It was a much harder ball to thread through. He should have went wide to the left-hand side.
Had so much space, Manning. That's a real warning for West Bromwich Albion. 4 minutes to go to half-time. It remains 0-0. You're listening to the EFL Championship playoffs on Talk Sport. Already a 0-0 today at Carrow Road between Norwich and Leeds. They meet again on Thursday night, live on Talk Sport. These two will square up once more at St Mary's on Friday. Here's Walker-Peters down the right-hand side. Does well to keep the ball in, and then he's fouled, and that's a bit of a silly foul for Townsend, because I'm not sure Walker-Peters was going anywhere there, let alone keeping the ball in.
Well, Adam, listen, who's the closest to the action? The assistant referee. Doesn't flag. Doesn't motion at all. The referee's 20 yards away from it, and he's the one that's gave the free kick. That's where you're looking for the officials to be, making sure on the same wavelength. All right, the referee might have got it, and probably has got it right, but the assistant, who was closest to the action, doesn't even flag for a free kick.
Russell Martin having a lengthy conversation there with Flynn Downs at the edge of the technical area. There's a lot of gesturing of calming down going on to some of the players. Well, I can't believe Walker-Peters needs treatment here.
Well, listen, it's hard. It was not the greatest angle for us to watch it, because there's a big barrier in front of us where we're commentating.
Welcome to the Hawthorns, Ray.
Welcome to the Hawthorns. It's really hard to see that far down the field. But, he looks in a bit of pain at the moment, so you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt that there was a challenge on him by Townsend. Not spotted by the assistant, but certainly was by the referee.
That's a right ankle that seems to be the problem for Walker-Peters.
And the other thing, I think Russell Martin was just having a word with Flynn Downs, because he's on that yellow card and he's such a pivotal player for Southampton in the way that they play. He's probably just having a word with him saying, look, don't go in for any more challenges, just make sure you get nice and tight, but don't get involved in anything.
Well, the last thing they want is him suspended for the second leg. 10th yellow card of the season for Flynn Downs. Walker-Peters is okay, but obviously he can't come straight back on, so Smallbone will deliver this free kick from out wide on the right hand side. Final 2 minutes of the first half. It remains West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. Smallbone set to deliver, and they're urging Walker-Peters get up here towards halfway to be allowed back on the field. And the fourth official, Dave Webb, down below, just coordinating things as Smallbone prepares to take this free kick right-footed. Swung towards the penalty spot and headed away by Kyle Bartley decisively. It's back out to Smallbone on this near side. He's closed down immediately by Townsend. Now Manning on his left foot. All the big men are still forward, so he's going to launch it to the far post. Beating Furlong to the header that time brilliantly was Bednarek, and then it's headed out of play by Kyle Bartley.
Well, I've got to say, Palmer's got to give him a bit of communication there, isn't he? It would have been an easy take for the goalkeeper. He doesn't say a word to Kyle Bartley, who he feels obligated to head it out, because he doesn't, positionally he's thinking, is there anyone around me? I'm not sure. So the first thing you do is go for the safety aspect and head it out.
Remains 0-0 in the Women's FA Cup final. It's over on Talk Sport 2 right now between Spurs and Manchester United. Here's Smallbone, right-footed, swung across, and going for the punch was Palmer. I'm not sure how much of that he got and how much of his defender he got, but it means Bartley's down on the floor inside the 6-yard box, and Southampton have possession, but the referee will stop play. Much to the fury of the Saints fans behind that goal.
I genuinely think he's been caught here, Kyle Bartley. It was a good corner kick, was it, delivered in a good area. Harwood Bellis went for it. Keeper comes out, and I just think he mistimed it. He catch his own player. got to say the monitor we're looking at, Adam, is not the best.
He's gone right over the top of the back.
Yeah,
we're
just gone over. You can see as he comes in there, and yeah, he's just gone over the top of him, and I think it's his knee that caught the defender more than punching him.
It's going to be a drop ball for Southampton out wide on this right hand side, so they'll keep possession, level with the penalty spot on this right hand side, right by the touchline. Sekou Mara is there. 3 minutes added at the end of this first half. Here's Downs, 25 yards out, gives it to Manning, 40 yards out, left-footed ball, diagonal into the right side of the box. Sekou Mara goes up, wins the first header, has time to take it down, feed it back to Walker-Peters, who tries to deliver a slightly bouncing ball first time, and it's headed away comfortably by Fellows from inside the penalty area. Out to the left this time, Aribo with another ball in, Adam Armstrong with a header, and he puts it well wide of the right-hand post.
I mistimed that completely, didn't he? Armstrong, he was on his way down, so he just didn't pick up the flight of the ball when it was delivered in. He was under a bit of pressure. Aribo with the ball in with his left foot, just angled it towards the far post, and as he came in there, might have been a little bit of pressure on, but it looked like he was on his way down.
Palmer's given that short by Bartley. He was closed down by Armstrong, but manages to get it away, and then Bartley will go direct this time. Bednarek's there with the first header. Going to fall nicely, you think, for Fellows on that far side, but that's a good bit of defending this time from Stevens to win it for Southampton, who have it in the middle of the park. And it was actually Manning who won that. Stevens is picking up the loose ball, and now it's Walker-Peters on this right hand side. He's just run in that time to Johnston, and the foul's given by the referee.
I think he's a little bit lucky there because he lost control of the ball there, Walker-Peters. Johnson's not too happy with the decision by the referee. I mean, what a blistering start we had from West Brom. They were in total control for the first 10 minutes or so, but you can see there's much more of a calmness about the way that Southampton play. There's a bit more measure about the way they pass the ball. I just believe though Che Adams is a massive miss today. Just don't think the two strikers have looked like they're going to create any real opportunities. We'll see on this set play from Smallbone, probably the last bit of action of this first half.
Yeah, we've had almost 2 minutes of the three added. Smallbone right hand side with a free kick, swung over and well headed clear this time. Yukuzlu in there, back as far as Walker-Peters on halfway. A few boos after his couple of moments in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and a well run line that time from West Bromwich Albion. Out of play on the far side for a throw, level with the edge of the box.
Yeah, you have to say from both teams' point of view, the lack of efforts and a lack of opportunities on the goal. Maybe just that final delivery hasn't been quite there. The movement from the strikers not always the best. West Brom have gone away. You think the two players that really shone early on was Fellows and Johnson. The last 20 minutes or so they've hardly showed anything, have they? They've not been involved, not really got on the ball.
Thomas Asante is the player who's just put that out of play. Throw on the far side to Southampton. Thomas Asante, of course, picked up from Salford. That's who West Brom have had to lead their line for the entire season, with those injuries to Daryl Dike and Josh Madger as well, and the budget restrictions at the Hawthorns, hence why Jed Wallace has been playing up top a few times as well. I'm sure that'll be an option we may see from Carlos Corberán before the afternoon is out. Stevens clips the ball through. Oh, Armstrong's got there. The defender missed it. Clips it over the top of the keeper, but the offside flag is up.
Anyway, flag went up quite early. You know, a mistake there from keeper, though, and the ball was delivered over the top.
And there's the half-time whistle. Sam Barrett says enough for the opening 45 minutes here at the Hawthorns. Chances were few and far between. The best to Grady Diangana forcing a good save from Alex McCarthy. A bright start for West Bromwich Albion at a high tempo, but Southampton soon imposed that far more measured, controlling football game on them. And at half-time, it's evenly poised. West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0.
It's still Manchester United 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0 in the Women's FA Cup final live on Talk Sport 2. And earlier on today, Norwich City drew 0-0 with West Bromwich, with Leeds United live on Talk Sport. Let's reflect on that first. It's with Ray Houghton, who's been watching the game. Good open feel to the game early on. Saints weathered an early storm from West Brom. Could have scored themselves. They've been brilliant getting in behind, usually from deeper midfielders. Flynn Downs forced Palmer into a brilliant save, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. There's not many chances. With the one for either team, you just said Downs. I thought Aribo and Smallbone also made some really good runs in behind. The two strikers, Mara and Armstrong, haven't really offered a great deal. They're actually playing a little bit wider You know, they're not playing in a central position, they're going a little bit wider, which is allowing the central midfielders of Southampton to make the runs in behind. Not been doing it often enough. I do think, particularly with Walker-Peters and Manning, they've got options to get the ball wide and get crosses into the box. But I was really impressed with West Brom and the start that they made. I mean, they came here with real intent in that first 10 minutes to take the game to Southampton. You know, the two wide players were absolutely on fire, and Fellows and Johnson. They're running at the back line, they were creating opportunity, getting in behind. The final ball wasn't quite there, or they weren't getting enough numbers into the box. But then you go to the chance for Diangana after some brilliant work from Fellows over that right hand side, stood up a brilliant ball at the back post, good header, but what a save from Alex McCarthy. When you're the keeper and you've not had a great deal to do, to make a save like that is always hugely important and great for your confidence.
Yeah, he was commanding as well from a couple of other opportunities, some set pieces and long balls into the box, and you need that, don't you, to give your team a platform from which to play, because their mantra has been pass, possession all season, Southampton, and slowly but surely as the game went on, that started to go in their favour. Yeah,
it did, but early on they got caught out a couple of times, didn't they, because West Brom were right on top of them, won the initial ball. Sometimes it came from a poor pass, and I know certainly that Russell Martin wasn't too happy early on with his team and the way they were passing the ball. They weren't doing it with any real confidence, whereas all season that's been a feature of the game, how good they are in possession of the ball, and the possession stats normally are in their favour. I think Adam said at one stage it was like 90% possession for West Brom. That showed you their dominance, but slowly but surely Southampton started to show the quality that they've got with the players they've got out there today, where they retain possession really well. They don't panic, which is a good sign for me of a good side. They're not panicking. Even when they make mistakes, they're still confident enough to say, right, we'll get it right the next time. And they've broke through on occasions. It's still evenly matched in this game so far. No doubt the weather will play a part. It's very warm up in the stadium. We've seen the players already had to go for a drinks break. We'll just see if they can maintain the standard that they showed in that first half and play at the same intensity.
Ray, I was just looking at West Brom. You said obviously first 10 minutes they were on top. I thought it was because they played a little bit further and higher up the pitch, and then after that first 10-15 minutes, when they're out of possession, they get dropped back into a 4-4-2, Diangana alongside Thomas Asante. That's enabled Southampton just to get control of the game. So I'd like to see them maybe 5-10 yards just a little bit further up to put them under pressure.
Do you think that comes from a little bit of lack of confidence as well, though, Perry? You know, where they know what Southampton are like and they know what the passing like, and they don't trust each other. They say, like, well, if we really press them, we might win it. I think that sometimes with players they go, oh, what happens if, you know, we press and they're getting behind us, then we're going to be caught out at the other side of the field. So I think it comes down to that on occasions. There's a little bit more belief in in each other and what they're doing. I think they would get more opportunities. I think if they go wide with Johnston and Fellows, I think they'll get more joy that way, because Fellows has run in behind Manning 2 or 3 times, and you know what it's like when you're a wide player. If you think you've got the pace to beat the fullback, you'd be saying to your midfielders or your fullback, keep putting it in behind, I'll keep running, don't worry, I'll be a willing runner for you, because we're going to get chances that way.
Super, thank you very much. Back with you for the second half very shortly. It's West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0 in the Championship semi-final first leg playoffs, live on TalkSport. TalkSport 2 just having a quick glance at some of the chances in that first half. Manchester United having a couple of good opportunities. Ella Toone going close for Manchester United in the last couple of moments. It's still 0-0 in the Women's FA Cup final. Let's reflect on the earlier game. Norwich and Leeds played out a goalless draw earlier today in the first of our Championship playoffs semi-finals. TalkSport's Ian Danta has spoken to Norwich boss David Wagner.
I'm absolutely fine. I said this before. It is a result where I totally can live with. I've seen my team putting on a proper shift, very high quality. We were able to keep calm, and this was good. It's game on.
Do you prepare any differently for a second leg to what you would normally do for an away game if it was a regular season game, because of the importance of it and the self-belief you need to get into your players?
No, it will not be very different. I think the excitement is the prize which you get. This is Wembley, and this is exactly where we prepare us for.
He seemed quite happy actually walking around the pitch afterwards. I'm not entirely sure his players are just as delighted with the 0-0 draw. I think they might sense that was a missed opportunity. What about Daniel Farke, because Dan has also been speaking to him?
Daniel, thank you for your time. What are the emotions for you after that first 90 minutes?
Yes, overall a clean sheet and draw could have been better, obviously, if you would have used one of our situations to score a goal, but you also don't have to be too greedy overall. We can definitely live with this first game.
And just finally for me, it's then over to the fans as well, as much as anything else, to give you that atmosphere that you feel that you need.
We know that there will be amazing atmosphere on Thursday, but it's also important not to be driven too much by your emotions and overdoing things, and you forget what you want to do, and you think you just can overrun an opponent, and for that knowledge is much too good and much too many experienced players, experienced coach, so we have to make sure that we find a good balance.
Thursday night live on TalkSport, the second leg, 7 o'clock live from Ellen Road. It is Leeds United against Norwich, and it's finally poised. You would expect that Leeds would be favourites in those circumstances, but anything can happen in the Championship playoffs. I think it'll be a slightly different game when they get to Ellen Road on Thursday night than it was today, where in the heat as well. I mean, it was incredibly hot pitch side, but it just lacked a little bit of urgency. There'll certainly be more of that at Ellen Road on Thursday. Let's take a look at the biggest game of the weekend with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The biggest game of the weekend on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Perry Groves is back in our studio in London. Alex Crook is sitting next to me at Old Trafford. I've got a question for you each, and you've got about 30 seconds before we start the second half of the game at the Hawthorns, each for you to answer it. So I'm going to start with you, Crook, because you're here and you're obviously got your Manchester United heart very much on your sleeve.
Is he sat on his hands? No fist pumping. Not allowed. He's got to be impartial.
He's been moaning ever since he walked in the door, which was late, by the way. Eric Ten Hag says that anyone who questions his future has no knowledge of football or how to manage a club. It's the latest in a series of broadsides from the Manchester United manager. Is he right, and who has he tried to influence with those comments?
Well, there's two schools of thought, I think. One is that he knows that he's leaving and he's going out swinging and landing some blows, and the second is that maybe he's been told actually he will get the summer and the start of next season to prove that he can operate under a proper structure. I really don't know which one it is. I'm not so sure at the moment. Mr. Jim Ratcliffe knows which one it is either, but you can only analyse what you see with your own eyes, and what we saw at Crystal Palace on Monday night was nothing short of shambolic, and they play like that again today. This could get very messy very quickly, but I'll caveat that, Perry, and say this is the type of game over the course of the season where Manchester United have turned in a performance. So it's either going to be 2-2 or 3-2 to the host, or Arsenal win by 5.
OK, we'll caveat that with your Arsenal's record at Old Trafford. 1 win in 16. How do they break the Old Trafford curse, Perry?
This is a different Arsenal, Sam. This is an Arsenal who's a little bit more assured. They're better physically. Man United can't be anywhere near as bad as what they were against Crystal Palace, because there was no shot. I can tell you one thing, Casemiro's not going to be playing at centre-half with Johnny Evans, so there'll be another centre-half pair in there. I'm just looking, you mentioned structure, Crookie, there, didn't you, about, a proper structure. Manchester United don't have a structure. I couldn't tell you what their philosophy is, or how they like to play, or what their they've got no work ethic off the ball, so it doesn't matter who plays. So if Arsenal, they're going to come out the first 10-15 minutes, you're going to be there, obviously the atmosphere is going to be red hot because it's Man United, Arsenal. There's that needle traditionally between both sides, don't matter where both teams are in the league. So if Arsenal can just ride that first 10-15 minutes and get control of the game, you're going to get a chance to get Manchester United, and it's whether you can be clinical enough to take them. So this hasn't got. We've had a 0-0 already, haven't we, in the first Championship playoff? It's 0-0 in this one, 0-0 in the Women's FA Cup final. Trust me, this is not going to be 0-0. Absolutely no chance.
Well, you never know. Thank you very much. That was a look ahead to the biggest game of the weekend with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The biggest game of the weekend on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Better not be 0-0, that's for sure. Right, let's get to the last few seconds of the first half in the game at Wembley. Manchester United taking on Tottenham in the Women's FA Cup final. And what's the latest? Bianca Westwood.
Well, it's Manchester United 0, Tottenham 0, but it really shouldn't be. Manchester United have had a bucketful of chances. Rachel Williams with another header from a corner that went just wide. Lucia Garcia from a close-range effort blocked brilliantly by defender Summanen. From another corner, Millie Turner had a header cleared off the line by Martha Thomas, and then just a moment ago from about 20 yards out, Ella Toone had a shot that went just wide. Manchester United dominating in terms of possession and in terms of chances. As for Spurs, when they're on the ball, the effort's there, but there's just no execution. It's Manchester United 0, Tottenham 0.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Back with you throughout the course of the afternoon. It looks like it's a lively encounter between those two teams, and certainly the atmosphere before the game was terrific. And speaking to Mike Graham, who was on Wembley Way, there was a real sense of occasion. Two teams that don't usually get to this stage, two teams that are desperate to win their first trophy. You can follow it on TalkSport 2. Half-time at the Hawthorns, West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. Finally poised, but what will the second half bring? It's coming up next.
EFL Live on TalkSport with McDonald's. Bring on the ultimate dream team. The classic quarter pounder with cheese.
Final at Wembley, Bianca Westwood.
Yes, it's Manchester United 1, Tottenham 0, and it's just gone half time, Sam, and with all of those efforts we needed a special goal to break the deadlock, and Ella Toon has given us just that. She picked the ball up on the edge at the halfway line. She raced towards goal. To be fair, she had all the time and space in the world. She got to the edge of the D and unleashed with a right foot strike that was worthy of any FA Cup final. It is Manchester United 1, Tottenham 0.
First goal in the FA Cup this season for Ella Toon, and what a strike it was. The Championship playoffs yet to serve up a goal, but that cannot continue. There will be one in the second half, I promise you, at the Hawthorns. West Brom 0, Southampton 0. Here's Ray Houghton and Adam Bridge.
That's a promise you're going to deliver on, Sam Matterface, I really do. The two teams are out for the start of this second half. Yes, we'd love a goal. I said to Ray at half time, what do you want? Thinking he'd take a cup of tea. Just want a goal, please. I think they're probably being very careful with him. Oh, that's a poor first touch there from Darnell Furlong, straight from kick-off, almost letting Southampton in down this right-hand side. But instead, West Brom win it back. Dean Garner loses out on halfway. Little pull of the shirt there from Bartley on Aribo. Smallbone gets it to Armstrong, edge of the penalty area. And it's a desperate clearance from the outside of the right boot of Darnell Furlong to pump the ball into the Southampton half.
That's not the start you want from West Brom, is it? If you're a West Brom fan, giving the ball away cheaply on two occasions there. Furlong one, Bartley the other, which led to Smallbone should have done better with the pass to Armstrong. It was a really poor ball and given Neil no real chance to get hold of it and bring his teammates into the game.
Both teams unchanged then from how they started at this opening of the second period. So Palmer's in goal, Furlong, Keepray, Bartley and Townsend across the back for West Brom. Yukuzlu and Moat, the two central players. In wide areas it's Fellows and Johnson, and Dean Garner very much playing up alongside Brandon Thomas Asante throughout that first half. Plenty of options on the bench, of course, for them. As for Southampton, McCarthy's in goal. Back three of Harwood, Bellis, Bednarek and Stevens. The two full or wing backs are Walker, Peters and Manning, with Smallbone, Downs and Aribo in central midfield, and Armstrong and Siko Mara up top for Southampton. Clips ball through looking for Mara, comes to the feet of Armstrong at the edge of the penalty area on the right hand side. Now to Flynn Downs, who's 25 yards out from goal. Armstrong again and Downs just exchanging passes, and Smallbone happy to bring the back three